We've got information coming in about a flight of Air India Express that had taken off from Trichy to Sharjah. It has made just what can be called almost a miracle landing. Remember, the aircraft had faced a technical glitch after it took off the undercarriage. It did not fold in. The tires of the aircraft did not tuck in as is supposed to happen. The pilot immediately realized this right after takeoff, after which he started preparing for a precautionary landing and had to circle in the air to reduce the fuel weight. Nikhil now joins us for more on this. Explain to us how this miracle landing was performed.
Well, what we have been given to understand is that DGCA was monitoring entire episode because it became a difficult situation. But what we can confirm is that the flight finally has landed safely at the Trichy airport, and the landing gear as well, which was facing some of the problem, it is also opening. So this is one of the biggest relief which is coming in all the way from the Trichy airport. But having said that, the airport staff is currently on the alert and ready to meet any of the contingency. As we speak, just a while back, just seconds back, the flight has landed safely, and this was Air India Express flight 613, which was bound to Sharjah from the Trichy airport, and it departed from the Trichy airport at about 5:40 p.m. But because after the takeoff, during the course of flight, there was some problem which was reported from the landing gear. A call was taken that the flight should be moved back to the Trichy airport, and it was being prepared for the emergency landing. The people right here at the Trichy airport, they were on the alert. Many of the fire engines were kept on the standby mode near the runway, and also the ambulances at the same time. The deployment of the Trichy police and the CISF personnel that were also increased at that particular point. But what we have been given to understand that after circling for over an hour, finally the flight has landed safely. This is one of the biggest information, and the DGC as well, which is the Civil Aviation Watchdog, that was continuously monitoring the status of the flight. But the more details are yet to be awaited. There is no official or informal word so far which has come out from the side of the Air India Express to tell us as to what exactly the reason was, how many passengers were on board. But through the sources, we are learning that there were around 141 passengers who were on board the aircraft, and this was the Boeing 737 aircraft which belongs to Air India Express. But finally, what we have been learning through the civil aviation sources, that the flight has finally landed safely, but the more details are yet to be awaited. And as we speak, the situation is still on the red alert mode. All the deployment is right there, from ambulances to fire engines to police personnel, and also the
CISF. Nikhil, we've got Trichy Airport Director, in fact, joining us. Sir, Mr. Gopal Krishnan, if you could just run us through the exact details of what really transpired.
Madam, this is the flight departed from Trichy to Sharjah, and due to technical reason, hydraulic failure, they have exhausted the fuel and they returned back and landed safely at 8:15 p.m.
Right. Sir, there were some reports that this wasn't an emergency situation. It was just a case of precautionary landing. If you could just tell us what is the difference.
So we have prepared this for this fire safety and everything. We have kept it ready, and the ambulance we have kept it ready for the emergency situation. Now it is landed and it is safe. All the 150 passengers are safe. There is no, it has been safe landed, normal landing only.
Right. Sir, we'd also learned that the aircraft was circling in the air for quite a while. Explain to our viewers, why is that important in this case?
So they will exhaust the fuel, whatever the fuel they loaded, because it has been departed from Trichy to Sharjah. So whatever the fuel they loaded, it has to be exhausted before the landing or the emergency landing. So it is in emergency landing, no fuel will be there while landing.
Okay, and in case of a precautionary landing?
Yeah, emergency landing.
All right. So we know that there were ambulances that have been placed at the airport. Do we know the status of passengers and the crew right now?
Emergency landing, everybody is safe. It is like normal landing only. Now everything is safe.
All right, sir. If you could just give us a little bit more detail about what exactly was the technical glitch that this aircraft had encountered?
No, that has to be, they told only hydraulic failure, landing gear failure, automatic landing gear failure. Now it is a normal thing. They have done with a normal gear and it is working okay. Now full technical details after this one we will come to know.
All right, sir. Thank you for joining us with those details. That was Mr. Gopalakrishnan. He is the airport director from the Trichy airport where this incident happened. It is said that around 5:40 is when this flight had taken off. It was going from Trichy to Sharjah. Right after takeoff, the pilot found out that there was some sort of a hydraulic failure with the aircraft, after which he decided to stay in the air and to make a precautionary landing back to its airport of origin. Then he decided to circle in the air for a while. That is required, as Mr. Gopalakrishnan was explaining, to reduce the fuel weight of the aircraft. My colleague Hina, who closely tracks aviation, is also joining us. Hina, tell us how significant is this entire maneuver that happened, and now we know, thankfully, that everybody is safe.
Well, it was huge because remember, around 20 ambulances, rescue teams were present at the runway, at the airport, to ensure nothing goes wrong. Because something like this doesn't happen on a regular basis. So while the airport was ready for any kind of an emergency landing, what we saw up in the air, preparation for a precautionary landing. Let me just explain to our viewers what exactly had happened. So there was this Air India Express flight. The aircraft was supposed to go from Trichy to Sharjah. It was IX613. Mid-air, an emergency was declared because the crew members, the pilots, saw some kind of a technical snag. What sources are telling us is that it was some kind of a hydraulic system failure that they observed, which is very, very crucial for controlling key functions, for example, landing gear, brakes and flaps. Now, when the pilot noticed it, immediately a message was sent to the Trichy airport officials that there is a need to come back to Trichy. The aircraft will not be able to fly to Sharjah. And because, remember, when you take off an aircraft, when an aircraft takes off, it is full. There is a specific tank load of fuel that you're supposed to carry with you when you're taking off. But you cannot land with the same amount of fuel. And that was the reason why, after, this communication was sent to the airport authorities at Trichy airport, the message to the pilot was that you have to circle around. That's the normal procedure. They were circling around, in the air to burn the fuel, because with a full tank, if you land at the airport, then there is a possibility that things can go wrong, something can catch fire, engine, etc. So to avoid all of that, the aircraft was circling mid-air, and now thankfully the aircraft has landed safely. There were about 140 odd passengers and crew members on board. All of them are absolutely safe, but this kind of a procedure is usually followed in situations like this. This is what officials told us. DGCA was constantly in touch with the airport authorities there, and now there is going to be in fact an investigation as well into what really was the reason behind this hydraulic system failure that was detected mid-air. So a big tragedy has been averted, is what we can say. And now the aircraft has landed safely. All the passengers are safe. But bringing ambulances and rescue teams, etc., is a regular procedure that needs to be followed in situations like these.
Right, and we've also got, Hina, stay on with me, the first statement that has been made on this by Ministry of Civil Aviation. The Air India Express flight IX613 from Tiruchirappalli to Sharjah has landed safely at Tiruchirappalli airport. DGCA has been monitoring the situation. That is what Hina was also telling us. The landing gear was opening. The flight has landed normally. The airport was put on alert mode, Hina. So finally, we now have some sort of idea of what exactly was the failure being spoken about. It is that the landing gear was opening. The undercarriage that is supposed to tuck in, it wasn't doing that.
That's right. That's what I was trying to explain to our viewers, that the crew spotted hydraulic system failure, which is very, very important for controlling key functions, for example, landing gear, brakes, as well as flaps. And now the complete investigation is going to happen as to what was the reason behind this particular hydraulic system failure. And thank God that, it was spotted mid-air, because then immediately precautionary measures could be taken. Immediately, instructions could be sent. Just imagine if the aircraft had taken off and it had spotted something like this further ahead, further away from Trichy airport, then in that case, it could have become a case of emergency landing. But because it was spotted just in time, the aircraft could, come back to Trichy, and all the passengers are absolutely safe. Usually in situations like these, what happens is there is a team from DGCA that goes to, monitor what exactly happened. There is going to be a thorough probe as well to look into this particular issue, because any time an aircraft is supposed to take off, there are engineers who check all the components. So whether the inspection was done properly or not, green clearance in fact is given before any aircraft is given the status of being fit to fly. So in this case, what was the reason that suddenly there was this hydraulic system failure is something that's going to be now a matter of investigation. We've already got a statement you read, Priya, from the Ministry of Civil Aviation. Now we'll have to see what the DGCA will have to say on this particular issue as to why suddenly, the aircraft detected this kind of a hydraulic system failure.
All right, so the spotlight and the scanner will be also on the aircraft maintenance crew. But tell us the procedure that happens in this case. We saw that the ambulances were already there in position, emergency measures had been put in place, but now that everybody is said to be safe, all the passengers thankfully and the crew as well, what happens next in terms of procedure?
Are concerned, of course, all the passengers will be now sent to Sharjah in another aircraft, but there is going to be proper investigation of this entire case. In matters like these, it is a safety first approach, and that's the reason why, even though procedures or SOPs, as one can say, were being followed, the aircraft was asked to circle around to burn the excess fuel that it had in its tank before it could land. Now the focus is going to be on the investigation, and as far as the passengers are concerned, they will of course be accommodated in the next aircraft, and then the flight will be taking off for Sharjah.
All right, thank you, Hina, for joining us with those details. Fortunately, and due to pilot's expertise, everybody is safe. The aircraft of Air India Express has made a safe landing back at the Trichy airport.